What's going on, Yarmouth? Happy Friday. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Friday Five. As always, I'm Scott LaFlamme, Yarmouth's town manager, and given the success of last week's edition, where we were able to showcase some of our rock star employees, Curtis did an awesome job telling you all things about the transfer station. We thought we might lean into that a little bit more and highlight some of our waterfront activity, given we are experiencing, the 1 week of summer here in Maine, and we're all melting, trying to beat the heat. So we figured we might talk a little bit about boat safety, talk a little bit about how people can cool off and experience all things that Yarmouth has to offer here on the waterfront. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's Friday Five. We're down here at Madeline Point, and it is bustling per usual during the summertime. We're getting the full sort of the views and smells of Madeline Point, which is probably a good segue into, this is a really busy place and there's a lot of different options. Will, tell us a little bit about how people can stay safe here and be cognizant of other users.
Great, happy to have you guys down here. As you know, this is a mixed facility use, so we have commercial fishing, we have recreational swimming, we have obviously the mooring field that is kind of the big draw here. We have paddlecraft users over off the kayak and dinghy rack. We have the nice little stone beach here, which opens up at low tide to give us a little bit more area to work with, kind of between the stairs and our dinghy rack slide. Just a lot of options for use. But with all those uses, kind of comes working together to make sure it all fits and rolls with each other.
So tell us a little bit about, we've got some swimmers here already. It's a popular hangout spot during the summertime to cool off.
Yep.
But again, we got to be careful of making sure that we're cognizant of the boaters that are out there and other users. How can people stay safe swimming here at Madeline Point?
The first thing to do is when you come down, take a look out, make sure there's no boats coming and going. We have a fairway which has allows boats to come directly into the dock, as well as most people kind of head out towards Portland. But just keeping a good sharp eye for boats coming and going, because they obviously have to load their gear and their family and get access to the dinghies from the dock. So if you're swimming between the beach and the dock is kind of the best location. But if you are swimming off the front, just make sure you have a watchful eye, or have a buddy maybe that would let you know that a boat's coming in. Move out of the way, make sure your legs and your arms are out of the way, because those boats coming in, sometimes the larger ones, have a hard time stopping. And if they can't stop and you're in the way, it could not be a good situation.
It could get dangerous quickly. So thanks for that. And again, there's been some ongoing conversations about changes down at Madeline Point.
Yeah.
Those have been, there's some initial designs really kind of quieted down since we had some public meetings originally a couple years ago.
Yep.
But there may be changes in the future here to make it a safer space and to allow for more people to enjoy Madeline Point. So keep an eye out for that, right?
Yeah, we have it on the website, the latest iteration to the changes. We're just trying to encompass all the uses here and make sure that it kind of fits for not only the area, but for all the residents of town.
That's great. All right, well, thanks for the grand tour down here, Will. We're going to go on, talk a little bit more about what you got going on.
Definitely. Thank you.
We're down here at the mothership headquarters for our harbor master, Will Owen, who's, this is obviously your busy time of year.
For sure.
And the facilities, we're down here at Old Town Landing, and the facility's looking great. And we've got some upgrades, some things on the horizon. Tell us a little bit more about what we've got going on down here.
Definitely. Happy to have you guys down here. So we're doing a few things, especially today. We're actually having a meeting with DOT to talk about some improvements to the commercial pier. We were fortunate enough to get a grant with match funding from the TIF district, the Economic Development crew, to get a gin pole and additional floats for our commercial users, which is aquaculture, lobster industry, commercial clamming, and even upwards of striped bass and some barging companies.
So tell us, for folks who aren't familiar with it, what's a gin pole?
Oh, sorry. So a gin pole is a hoist, so they can lift heavy gear up and down from either their boat or from the dock that you can't necessarily get to and from a truck that easily.
Yeah, and for right now, for those commercial users, they're really relying on high tide, and it has to sort of thread the needle when it comes to timing to get that equipment on and off, and the oysters and all the other fun, tasty things that we get to enjoy here locally. It's really hard to do that. So it's something we've been working on for a long time.
Yes.
Really excited to get it going, and it should be up in the near future?
Hopefully within the next year. We're meeting today to find out what our next steps are. We've been approved for everything. We're signing contracts moving forward, but I know the kelp guys who can't offload here currently and have to go to Freeport or Portland because kelp is about 500-pound bags. You can't move those by hand. Yeah. This will give a great opportunity to bring more commercial use into the river and expand on our uses going forward.
That's not the only thing that you guys have been working on down here. We've got a new commercial ramp and some other stuff happening as well, right?
Yeah, we were fortunate enough a couple years ago, the Economic Development Committee also helped us fund a new boat ramp that was built last spring and is now in effect. It's a double ramp. It allows for large vessels to be put in or 2 users at the same time for smaller wreck boats. But it's definitely been a gateway to our community, especially some of our islands who you can't get to by bridge and you have to get to by boat. This is definitely the #1 location to get out.
You mentioned something before, where we're sort of uniquely positioned in between 2 other little maritime service centers, right? Freeport has a facility, Portland has a facility, but what we have here in Yarmouth, it's much larger, right? It's way more accessible, and we're starting to build out that infrastructure to be competitive and to be sort of a focal point for folks trying to use the water.
Yeah, Portland's got a great facility, but they're limited on parking. Here we have a fair amount of parking. The next closest deep water ramp at the lower tides would be Brunswick.
Yeah.
Falmouth and Freeport are restricted by tide use and parking. Yeah. So we're kind of right in the middle. We're close to 295. We're federally dredged. We got a lot of great stuff going on here. To really get users out there.
That's amazing. So we've also got mooring fields here as well. We're starting to work on some ice facilities, sort of beef up what we have for public amenities. But I'm looking out on the water and you've got sort of some new features onto your boat, don't you?
Yeah, so we added last year, we received a grant from the Island Institute for our town-owned dinghies, our shared dinghy program for mooring holders to get to and from the public docks here. It's an electric dinghy. It's supposed to lower our emission use for private dinghies that have their own motors. So we were fortunate enough to get that through the Island Institute, and 2 of our dinghies for the mooring field have those now.
That's great. And we've got some cool businesses here locally who's helping to sort of transition folks to electric motors as well. Maybe we'll get into that in a future Friday.
And we were fortunate enough to team up with Yankee Marina, who actually we purchased them from.
That's great. All right, the last thing I'm curious about is I see a bunch of yellow life preservers out there. We've got a new program to help make people safer out on the water.
Definitely. CTO Foundation, we've teamed up with as well to have a life jacket borrowing program. So you borrow and return it. This way people are getting the right sized life jackets, especially with kids. The new law is 12 and under under 12 needs to be wearing a life jacket. So we want to make sure we're offering those opportunities, especially at a public launch where people might not have the right fitting life jackets or might not have them on board to begin with.
That's great. And if you have if you want more information or have questions, Will's always available. We'll make sure we have his contact information at the bottom. So thanks for everything, Will. This is great. And hopefully we'll see you out on the water.
Definitely. Thanks.
Thanks again, Will, for participating this week, and hopefully you guys have liked hearing from our employees and folks sort of talking about different operations here in town. We're so blessed to have folks who genuinely care about the work that they do, so it's important to highlight that, but hopefully you learned something along the way. So be on the lookout for more of this type of content in a future Friday 5. But as always, I'm going to wrap things up with a bit of a town council primer. Last night, the town council held their June voting meeting, and just in 1 week on July 3rd they're going to be hosting their workshop meeting, as always, 7 o'clock in the log cabin. And of course, next Friday is July 4th. All of our non-essential municipal operations will be closed, and that means, sorry guys, no Friday 5 next week. So we'll see you the next week after that. So to clarify, on next Thursday, July 3rd is going to be their normally scheduled workshop meeting. Next Friday, town office and all non-essential municipal functions going to be closed for the 4th of July. The following Thursday, the 10th, is going to be their regularly scheduled operations committee meeting, 7 o'clock here at the town hall in the community room. And rather than having the voting meeting on the 3rd week, because of course that's the week of Clam Festival, it's going to be pushed to the following Thursday, July 24th. So we hope to see you there. Anyways, with that, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Have a great 4th, folks.